Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
When we talk about some of these complicated topics, you can either spiral down in fear, which I reject, or you can double down in faith. And I choose to have faith and say God loves us. You know, the ultimate leader when it comes to AI is God Almighty. You know, they want to kind of make you believe that AI somehow is above God. Don't believe it for a second. It's a lie. AI is very good and very helpful and can be very valuable in our society if we learn to use it right. But I want to bring this warning up, just like the Epoch Times did. I want to really highlight the great work of CrowdStrike for bringing it up. But let's talk about solutions just for a quick second. You know, I think it's important that we realize that technology is neither good or bad, right? It's in whose hands. And so we need to really put laws in place and guidelines in place. And we need to alert the programmers at, you know, Elon Musk's whatever and OpenAI and all these different Groks and, you know, different AI. We need to make sure that we can write code to stop the penetration of some of these bad codes or bad programming or backdoor programming or whatever you want to say. It's like a perfect example of this is that they say that OpenAI is getting sued because kids have been encouraged to commit suicide by the bots. It's a sad tale for sure. But again, it's this knowledge that we bring to the table. It's, wait a minute, we can educate these bots to be more socially aware, to be more, hey, if someone's really contemplating suicide, that, you know, it's appropriate somebody gets the word about it. If there's somebody trying to sneak code into the back door or whatever, there's not, we can push back. And so I really think it's up to the legislative bodies in many ways, but it's also up to we, the people. I won't use DeepSeek. I don't use DeepSeek anyway, but I won't use DeepSeek especially because of this. And we can start to reward the bots and the companies that promote appropriate AI that square with our governing values and say, hey, I'm going to use the AI systems that are taught right, that there's appropriate guardrails, that, you know, it's just not going to refuse because it doesn't like what I think or believe or say. There's a lot to that, and we can all play a role. For the average American, decide to use the bots and the people that are doing what's right. Okay, we also reported a couple of weeks ago about how some of these bots are getting into porn. It's a disgrace. Don't support those bots. Support ones that hold a line against that. Pretty soon, it'll be late to the game because Christians and Americans, especially conservatives, they don't come to the table soon. They don't develop stuff. That's why we got caught flat-footed when it came to the media. It's like, hey, wait a minute. They shut down Donald Trump. Well, none of the conservatives had a media. None of the conservatives had a platform to do much about it. Well, now that's changing, and good on us for it. But we ought to be wiser when it comes to this one and say, hey, let's make sure we have bots that don't go into porn, that don't encourage people to commit suicide, that don't have backdoors in them and cause all these problems. We can play a role in that, and we can vote with our dollars, and we can vote with our eyes and our ears. And that's where the average American can be. When it comes to legislative groups, we need to educate them. IT people like me and others need to stand up before these legislative bodies and say, hey, guys, this is what we're dealing with, and here are the solutions. Never bring up problems without solutions, ladies and gentlemen, okay? That's just the first word of, if you want people to leave your program and feel empowered and encouraged, it's time to focus on God, family, country. It's time to focus on how you can be involved in solutions, right? All right. I don't even know how to respond to this. Joshua Phillip, our dear friend, he's over at the Epoch Times, and Joshua Phillip does a program that's just tremendous. And he emailed me and said, massive fraud investigation launched into the Minnesota migrants issue, the Epoch Times, okay? So there's massive fraud, big time. And Minneapolis is under fire for a lot of reasons. One, their immigration issues. But number two, I guess they got all kinds of people that are speaking in Somali in front of the American people. The Minneapolis police chief is preparing the cops to, listen, intervene when ICE comes to town. You thought Santa was coming to town, folks, but it's really ICE agents coming to town. Didn't you know that? See? They say these people are just, they're off their rock. They're crazy. I wanted you to watch a couple of these videos to make the point, and then we'll talk about it. Here's the first one.
folks that are masked, that they're not sure if they're law enforcement, that they may be kidnapping people. Like, we have had those reports. I want to be clear to the community. The community should know that if you see something like that, that is legitimate, that you don't know if someone is law enforcement, you should call 911. And you should provide as much information as possible, because let's not forget, we very recently had tragedy in this state by someone who was purporting to be law enforcement. So please, let's be clear. That's something everyone should report, and that we will immediately respond to, and we will document, whether it's somebody's not sure if there's a kidnapping happening, somebody's not sure if that there's law enforcement present or not. And that's something else, that's additional policy requirements that we are implementing, that we will document and report these types of things anytime that we hear it, and reminding our officers of their duty to intervene. So if there is anything that is a violation of someone's human rights or civil rights, excessive force or anything like that, they absolutely have a duty to intervene as police officers.
Okay, and I agree with him partly. When he says that there's masked people and you don't know if they're law enforcement or not, it's time to call 911, 911. I don't disagree with that. Hey, we got to make sure that it's legitimate. But the way you solve those problems, folks, is called coordination. And we've worked on this with land rights and all kinds of issues over the years. And as a part of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association, there's ways to create de-escalation training. There's ways for the general government, Tom Holman, Donald Trump and company, Kristi Noem, to put people on notice saying, look, we're going to be in your town and we're going to, stop the illegal activity. Okay. I mean, we're talking about this discussion in the wake of dozens of Somalis in Minnesota being convicted and sentenced for fraud. $1 billion of taxpayer funds is what we're talking about here. So I understand that he wants to say, look, you can't have these people come into our towns and not know who they are. I agree. But there's a term called coordination where this can be worked out. Now, the ICE agents may not be letting local officials know when they come now because the local officials are so hostile, they don't want to give them time to prepare to hide the illegals. Or we've got a problem in America when we're divided against one another like this. A country that's divided can't stand, folks. But we can provide as much information as possible, and we need to immediately respond. I agree with them. But how do we respond is the question. Okay, you don't have a duty to intervene in these instances. Why? Because we gave the general government the responsibility to protect our border and deal with immigration. It's a congressional responsibility. It's a general government mandate. We have delegated authority to them. Now, these people went so far as to literally start speaking in Somalian. Okay, check out this next video. This is fascinating.
That's not American. That's not what we are about. And we're going to do right by every single person in our cities. And so, to our Somali community, Daman Shabka, Somalied Kunul, Minnesota, Garahan, Minneapolis, Waan, Ku Janilahai, Waan, Ku Gereb, Taganahan.
What on earth is happening? The guy literally just said that's not American, and then he doubles down and starts speaking in Somali to the constituents there. I don't have a problem with the Somali language, folks, or any other language for that matter. But this is the United States of America where we speak English, right? I've got a problem with doing this, all right? During a Tuesday cabinet meeting, that's yesterday, Donald Trump said, I don't want Somalis in our country. I'll be honest with you. And then he goes on and attacks the Representative Omar there and says she's garbage. I don't think we need to take this personal, to attack her personally. And I don't think we need to say we don't want Somalis in our country. I don't agree with that either. I do agree that we want legal immigration, and we want to make sure that it happens appropriately and that the laws are followed in the United States. And if it's illegal, I don't want any illegal activity. Okay, I don't want to just single out immigration. I don't want illegal activity anywhere, anytime. I want people to obey the law. I want people to be self-governed to where we don't need tons of laws. The mayor of Minneapolis even said he won't even work with ICE. Okay, here's the next video. Check this out. It's crazy.
Are here to stand with you. Our community has lived through fear in the past, and we're not going to let us divide that. We're going to stay informed, we're going to stay safe, and we're going to support each other. We will continue to working our partners on the ground so residents know their rights. They know where to turn for help, and we know that Minneapolis will not abandon. One of the things I do want to say, and obviously everyone knows that our president is racist, xenophobic, Islamophobic, and we are going to fight that. America has a history of fighting and stopping those kind of individuals who continue to divide people and divide communities. Many Somalis that live in this community are working at your groceries, working at your hospitals, delivering your babies, their doctors.
All I'm telling you is this, folks. It's not about a racist president. It's not about whether you like Somalis or not. It's about speaking a language that we can all identify with and have a culture that we can all be part of. It's about, ladies and gentlemen, the rule of law in America. And it's illegal, needs to stop. Legal, fantastic. We need to obey the laws of our country, ladies and gentlemen. And they're dividing in culture. They're dividing by culture. When we say our Somali community, our Hispanic community, this and that, it's dangerous, folks. God save our republic.